Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Wednesday, September the 21st, 2022. It was a pretty much on-track day for most of it until the Fed made their announcement. As expected, interest rates, the Fed funds rates have gone up 75 basis points. The initial reaction was buy. No, take that back. The initial reaction was sell, and which they did, bringing the market down to new lows and then taking it all the way back up towards the highs and then bringing it all the way back down to additional new lows and really ending on those lows in a whipsaw couple of hours to finish the day. So what I want to do, I'm going to start here with the NASDAQ. I just want to review very quickly the existing count and again, be specific on why my alternate or my view number 2 remains off the chart for now. Not out of sight, just or out of mind, but just not visible because it can be confusing to a lot of people. And I want to be clear about what basically we're going on. So anyway, what at the all-time highs, both the NASDAQ and the S&P, we completed a supercycle wave 3. At the same time, going down in degree, we completed a cycle 5. We completed a primary 5, and we completed an intermediate 5th wave. Now we're in a supercycle wave 4 correction. We go back down to what we're looking for to complete. Except now we're starting here at the bottom, at the smallest degree that I'm actually counting at this level. And that would be intermediate. So we're looking for an ABC for the supercycle wave 4, and then therefore an ABC in a cycle degree and an ABC on an intermediate degree, primary degree, and an intermediate degree. Well, here's intermediate A, B, C. Completed primary A. Right now, I'm still using the high in mid-August as the completion point for the primary B wave, which would put us in primary wave C. This is where maybe there's a little bit still left that we have to give probability to that view number 2, which is that this primary B wave is not complete. And that again, we go back to this is primary intermediate wave A, and we're putting in the intermediate wave B. I don't particularly like it for the same reason that I switched the count when we had that big day. I switched it when we had this big day. I didn't switch it. I just basically dropped the view number 2 being on the chart. Now, because the probability kept dropping, the probability remains right now still about 35 to 40%. Now, so that's why I'm putting it there, because today was very bizarre. So we're going to go right down to that hourly chart and see if we can take a look. This was, we worked our way higher, higher, higher. This was right at when we found out what the rate was. So the first thing they did was bing, go up and make a new high for the sequence. Then they started to sell it. Then they sold it and they sold it and then they bought it back. And then they started to sell it again at 12 noon. So wait a minute, I take it back. I need to take this even down further. Let me take it to a 15-minute chart. Number comes out. First thing they did was buy it. Then it dropped. And it dropped to the low at that time at 11,763, I believe it was. Then they started to rally, and they rallied, and they rallied, and they rallied all the way up to 140. And then they started to sell it all the way. So false sell, false buy, I don't know. But when I bring it back out to that hourly chart, I put a wave 2 right there. Now, this presents a very conflicting view. But I'll tell you what I did. Because of the way that the candles traded, because of the tails that were left, I put it back on a line chart because I wanted to see what was going on in here. Let's go back down to that 15-minute chart and take a look. Right? Actually, I need to hold on. I shouldn't have gone out because I gotta talk about the whole thing. On the 30-minute chart, it makes a little bit more sense, but I'm going to go down back to that 15-minute chart. There is the bottom. And so the two are going to be a little bit different. The S&P and the NASDAQ still are a little bit different, but they're catching up in terms of where I think we are. Okay, so in the NASDAQ, minor wave 1. And now I put minor wave 2 over here. So it would come down once it gets back out to the hourly. And we start. Now the internals, they all fit. Not as nice as you'd like, but they fit. And we're off to the races in the third wave. Now that's how I figured it out, because when you put it back on candle, you don't get the same thing. Those wicks brought it below here, and then they ran it up and they went back up to the highs here. So just cleans it up. And it goes back to how Elliott actually did it. I know I've said this before, so I don't want to spend a lot of time, but it clears up the picture and it tells you exactly what happened. So a little difference in interpreting today's markets and using candlesticks versus a line chart. Okay, so if we are indeed now dropping in a third wave, I'm going to go back out to that daily because I need to put a couple of things on here. One that I want to put on is I want to put on what that third wave should look like. And before I get off this chart, I'll come back and I'll put on the primary C. But right now, let's stick to intermediate wave 3. So what we have going on is so far minor 1, minor 2, and now we're inside that third. So I'm going to put one more. And that's going to be here. Let's see. Take it there, and we're going to go to today's high. Okay, so now I am going to remove the other for right now, and I'm going to look at, we're looking for minor wave 3. So we have minor 1 and minor 2. If indeed that holds, then I'm looking for this minor third wave to start heading down below. It's got at least, we've already broken that low, so that's all good. But that was just because the wave 2 were so weak. But I need 100% brings us down to 10,941. Could we get there? Of course. Nobody thought a lot of things would happen, but they tend to. So that would be like a minimum. And again, when I put in the other, I'm going to put that back now so that we can see it. First, let's just notate. We've got it all the way down. 100% is 941. 1618 is 10,200. And that's not uncommon for a third wave. Again, a minor third, it could, but not real high on my list. As I've said before, I think that the minor 1 may have been the extended wave because of the way it kicked off. So minor 3 comes in at 100%. That works for me. And we'll see what happens after that. Now, let me put in the larger. And that's going to be the C wave, which this intermediate 3 is all about. Oh, wrong. Sorry. I wanted to do the intermediate wave 3 and see what we get matched up there, if anything. So we have not very much. So the intermediate wave 3 continues to appear that we get some here at the 100%, which is 11,176. And that would be enough for the intermediate 3, but no, I'm looking for the minor 3. And it could finish in here. For sure, it can finish in here. We get a 4 and a 5. a minor 4, a minor 5, and that then can bring us down into this zone. And that'll fin the intermediate 3. Then we get an intermediate 4 and an intermediate 5. So we still got, a ways to go. And again, then I would go back up and put the other 2 on. Right now, let's just get through here, because ultimately, if it remains a C wave decline, then that measures down to between like 8,000 and all the way down to like 6,800. All right. So tomorrow, I would expect that we're likely going to see some follow through. That would be my expectation. But to tell you, the last couple of days, even after that number came out today, they were like, no, we're buying. But what they were, I'm hoping, were pre-scheduled orders. That's what was got left. And that was the time of day that they were going to do it. So be it. Anyway, for tomorrow, I think that we should still be looking for additional downside. If I have to say off of this is 3. It's like, I don't know. I don't even think I can get a 1. It's definitely a good start. That bar, good start. Very bearish engulfing to finish on. And we'll see where we go as this Globex continues. Over in, and we have the support levels, don't forget. 11,563, and then we have coming off this way. That's on the outside for the intermediate. So on the inside one, these we have 11,682, 11,540, 11,400, 11,300, basically down to 295, and then we have 11,097. And then, of course, we have that 10,941. So those all could come into play. How deep do we get tomorrow? Well, if we have another strong down day, what did we do? Today, the NDX ended up down 213, so it really wasn't even that bad. If we have another down 200 day, then we're going to be down here. So we'll see. Over in the S&P, basically same story, except the S&P was working on some much different things. This wave 2 actually needs to be over here. And this is a 1, and this is a 2. And this is the beginning of the 3 of the 3 of the 3. So I'm expecting that the NASDAQ. So let me go back up to that daily, and we're going to put in, I need to start clearing some of this up. Bear with me. Too many things now on the charts. So I'm going to clean them up so that I can put some other fibs on this chart. 4 hour, back up to the daily. So the first thing I want to do is put on that wave 3. There we go. There. There. Oops. So, intermediate wave 3. 100 is 37.31. We're at 37.96. I think intermediate wave 3 comes lower. I think we're going to be aiming for this one. So again, 36, this is 36.39. We have 36.26 down to 35.61. That may complete minor wave 3. And what, actually, no, the intermediate wave 3 may complete down here. The minor wave 3, I would be looking for maybe down, no, not even that much more. So we'll see, because the S&P's got a head start and really did a nosedive today. Late, after running itself up, it just kind of did a nosedive. And it had already given itself a head start just on the basis, even if I put the 2 over here, it's going to be a failure. It's a C-wave failure because it didn't really, what am I doing? Style. Let me go over to that line chart. See? 1, 2. Even so, when I take it back here, it's not as clear. But it is 1, 2. And this is the third of the minor 3. So it's a minute third of minor 3. So minor 3 can realistically come in there. Or for sure, I would think it's going to come in 37 down to 36.25 in there. Kind of gets a little gappy in there. But minor 3 now, remember that's for the intermediate third. Let me put in the minor third and see what that is going to look like. There you go, right there. Thank you. So the minor 3 are these very inside ones, and they're lining up right there. 37.31 is a 618, but it's got to be more. Of 1, only 618. No, 100% is 3607. So that's why I said before, I was thinking right down in here. So I think we do have some continuation here. At least another 100 or more until we get down all the way. Now, that will be all of that. And we still have, I'll leave that on there for right now. When we go back out, we have the much larger. Now, for this one to still be not intact, this still, in all honesty, basically needs to hold above 36.39. So that's why I said, we should find out pretty quickly how soon or how deep all of this is going to go. And cement this right into place. Okay, so enough said there. So upside from here should be now much more minimal, as we've already seen. Now that the numbers are out, and they continue to talk about, hey, we're going to keep this up. They even tossed out the possibility of a full point or a point and a quarter or a half to really nip this all in the bud. We heard the Fed chair come out and say today, some more, higher unemployment numbers would not be so bad. And that's what they're looking for. In order to tame inflation, we have to have less people working. It's a very strange dichotomy, because on one side, we passed a bill into law to start putting a lot of people back to work as we rebuild our infrastructure. So we've got another battle going on in real time. And how that all plays out is about to play out. Okay. So upside, I believe, until this is complete, should be minimal. And you're always going to be able to run your fibs. If it starts to rally, run fibs from that high to that low, or whatever the low may be. And then you're going to get your fibs for what the potential is for it to go back up, or where it should end. So pullbacks notwithstanding, I'm looking for a continuation to the downside right now. And we might get that tomorrow, and then we have expiration Friday. Again, this puppy was all over the board. That's Apple Computer, all over the board. Microsoft, all over the board today. NVIDIA, all over the board. Up, down, and sideways. So I'm imagining that's all going to continue. In any case, I'm going to let it be right there. I'm looking for more downside. Let's see how it all pans out. But we are also getting a little bit oversold on an hourly chart, so a bounce would not be out of the question. at least to relieve that. But remember, again, I state like there, markets can crash being oversold. All right, next update will be on Thursday, September the 22nd.